The Zoom stuff. You're watching or listening to Strangers in Space, and for the next half an hour, we're going to be blowing the bloody doors off so you don't have to. Hi, I'm JR.
I'm Ian.
Hi, I'm John.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Steve. Hello.
So, about 3 or 4 years ago, a rumour surfaced that David Tennant was coming back to Doctor Who. And of course, our initial reaction, the same as everybody's initial reaction, was, what nonsense! And I wasn't available that day for some reason. So, Matt, I think you and Simon recorded about it. Maybe there were three of you. I don't recall. And your entire conversation.
Oh, hello.
No. Out you go.
No.
There'll be no more Lego.
Okay.
All right.
So easy
Go!
to control them.
That's how we do it.
Lego.
It hasn't worked. He's still there.
Oh, well.
The gist of that conversation was that you basically said all the reasons why it would be true, and you gave context, you gave all the practicalities of it. And at the end of the conversation, I think everybody, including me listening back to it, but I think I'd already come to this conclusion before you even recorded, had decided that it made perfect sense for David Tennant to come back to Doctor Who. And yet you ended the podcast by saying, but of course it's not true. I don't want to make the same mistake again. So I'm going to give a warning now. We are going to be talking about probably spoilers for the war between the land and the sea to a certain extent, but definitely spoilers for the end of this series. If you don't want to know how this series ends, stop listening now, because, I mean, this is to a certain degree speculation and rumor.
To a certain degree.
No, some of
A certain degree being like
degree.
100%.
Yeah,
that
everything.
kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
Steve, to a certain, some of what we're talking about is rumor. Some of what we're talking about is way more than rumor. And we're giving spoilers away for the end
right.
of, yes. So what I'm saying now is if you don't want to know how the series ends, don't listen any further, because we can't talk about the latest rumor without talking about how the series ends. And so to that end, is Billy Piper going to be the next Doctor Who? Yes, at this point, it's just rumour. I, for one, pretty much 100% believe it's going to be the case, frankly. And so we'll have a conversation about that, and I'll get your opinions on that as we go. But first of all, I want to fill in just a tiny little bit of background. So we had a situation where about a week ago, a rumour came out that said somebody who had been at whatever it was. What was the event that they'd all been to?
BAFTAs.
The BAFTAs. Somebody who'd been at the BAFTAs, somebody who'd been in Doctor Who before but not played the Doctor, somebody who was a woman was going to be the next Doctor Who. And that was going to be happening at the end of the current series. So we heard some time ago that Ncuti Gatwa was leaving. We heard some time ago, and we talked about this in January, that he was filming his regeneration. And we kind of assumed that it was going to be a regeneration to nothing to leave it on a cliffhanger. And then this week, subsequent to this rumor about the BAFTAs coming out, somebody named Billy Piper. And I think at the time, our reaction was, oh, probably not. But you can see why that rumor would happen, because Russell T Davies is exactly the kind of person who would do that kind of thing, I think. And then 2 days ago, an advert came out, a Disney Plus advert for Spanish speaking markets, which said in Spanish, discover our new releases. Don't miss out on new originals, blockbusters, and binge-worthy series added weekly. Join Disney Plus again for just $4.99 a month. So that probably went out to people who had been subscribers but had let their subscriptions lapse. And on that advert, there was a collage of images from, I don't know, current and upcoming Disney stuff. The only ones we could really pick out were the new Captain America movie, which will be coming to streaming in a few weeks, and Mandalorian and Grogu, which will be in the pictures in a few weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? I think it's...
Having let you say all that, the image you're on about is apparently from the CBBC series Wolf Blood.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's interesting. So then
Carol
the
has done the
advert...
research on this.
Oh, I looked at...
I wasn't convinced it was Billy Piper.
I
No, I
looked at
wasn't. I was far from convinced that that was Billy Piper.
Well,
So somebody's-
we've blown this thing right open. Oh, it's
blown the bloody doors off.
Stephen Graham from A Thousand Blows there as well. And
What are you
Moon
looking at
Knight.
now?
Oh, the image, the collage image.
Oh, right. Oh,
Well-
you can see it. The weird thing about that collage image is there's a picture of David Tennant on it rather than a picture of Shuji Gatwa. So David Tennant is there to represent Doctor Who. Shuji Gatwa is not there to represent Doctor Who, despite being the current Doctor, at least for another couple of weeks. Which, that at least about the advert suggests to me that Shuji Gatwa is on his way. The fact that these rumours about Billy Piper are now sort of coalescing, and okay, so this in itself, the advert is an error, but the rest of the rumours all seem to be pointing in her direction. And so, I mean, let's just get a flavour of where we all stand about the likeliness of it. John, since as you were talking, do you think it's likely that Billy Piper will be the next Doctor and that she'll be turning up in a fortnight's time?
I can see it happening because she's quite enthusiastic about it. Role. We know she's in this new documentary they're doing about the 20 years of the new series, the Unleashed episode.
I was coming back to that.
Oh,
boy,
we'll come
was
back
I-
to it afterwards,
Oh
it's fine.
boy, was I coming back to that.
You're willing this into happening, even if it's not true, aren't you?
No, I think that's a massive piece of context, and I was going to come back to it because I've been talking for
Yeah.
5 minutes non-stop, and I thought I've got to throw it open to you guys before I just go on for an entire 10-minute
The honest
monologue.
idea, I have no idea whether it'll happen or not, but I would love to see it because she's a great actress. She's developed.
Oh, now you've
beyond.
spoiled my second question. 5 minutes in, do you think it's likely? 20 minutes in, would you like to see it, John?
I'll
just
shut
hold
up the
that
next
thought.
15 minutes, shall I?
Steve, do you think it's likely?
Well, now then. So whenever these rumours have come up, I've always had one absolutely immutable law of Doctor Who casting. It's never Susan, it's never the Rani, and it's never Romana. So after this last week, all bets are off, and I want to know what time Lala Wood's plane gets in from Hong Kong. So it's possible. Who knows? Who knows? I think there are other things that are more possible and more likely, but yeah, it could happen, couldn't it? I think it would be a bit. It would be a bit of a sign of desperation, I think, really.
But then,
Um,
don't you think
in
the
many
Tennant and
ways
Tate
that
thing
it's. Well, no, that was for an anniversary, so that was entirely excusable.
It
And
was.
and because of the timing, well, they didn't want to bring in a new Doctor for an anniversary special, did they? So
No,
and
this is
and
very
they'd already
true.
lost the previous one.
Well, this is very true, and I've argued it myself. But from the guy who brings Tennant and Tate back in a sequel to a story from 15
Yeah.
years previously, who uses the Star Beast as the thing to launch them, and then who goes on and brings back Sutek, Susan, and the Rani across the course of
Yeah.
what? There's 7 episodes
Mel.
between all those things happening, really, isn't there?
Oh, he didn't bring back Mel, did he? Yeah, I
No,
said
that
and
was
Mel,
Chris
but he
Chibnall.
didn't.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
And that was Chibnall. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Ian, are you
Well,
with
it's
it?
possible, isn't it?
Ian,
Yes, hello.
oh,
I've been
Ian,
here. I've been here all the time. It's just I haven't been able to get a word in edgeways since about February.
do you think it's likely?
I think it's as likely as anyone else. I think it's if there is a new doctor in place, I think it is more likely that it's going to be someone Russell has worked with before, knows, and could kind of ring at 2 a.m. and go, "Could you do me a terribly big favor?"
A really
so yeah,
marvelous
What
one.
was that?
yeah. So I think
Barber-esque.
I've been practicing.
It's exactly as if he was in the room, just not this
Yeah.
room.
Sorry, is
Yeah.
it Russell T Davies or Terry Thomas? That's really
I was going for the sort of bastard offspring of them both.
Billy.
If you can imagine.
me a very good
Um,
favour.
No, I think
Mr. McCoy's in the room, everybody.
here since the dawn of time.
Oh, that's Vincent. That's Vincent Price now.
Oh, this is why I don't bother saying
No, I
anything.
know.
I'll pipe up again in another 4 months and see how that goes.
You're always better on episodes where Matt's not here, Ian. I've got to say that.
I mean, that's true for all of us, though, isn't it?
Oh, does anybody blame me for picking up on Ian's RTD impression, or are you all now like going, "Oh,
I mean,
no, that was very cruel of you to
Let
pick
not
up on
he
that."
was without sin cast the first stone.
yes, there's very
You-
much a pot kettle black situation
You
going on
pompous,
here, isn't there?
sanctimonious lot.
Matt, Billy Piper, likely?
No, I'm just going to let Ian doesn't finish speaking.
I don't think he wants to speak now that
I,
you've spoken.
I feel like I pretty much covered what I was going to say there, and that I think if anyone has been cast and has filmed a regeneration, it will be someone with links to the show, because it will have been a very sort of emergency kind of measure. So
Well, there's another somebody, isn't there, who has links to the show and is known to be very friendly with Russell T Davies,
Phil
who
Collins.
because I think there's no. I think there's yeah there's this puzzle about this spin-off, because it just seems to me that the idea that there's a spin-off next year
Steve, maybe
is
we can
just
go there
utterly
after we've asked
illogical.
Matt. Maybe we can go
Oh,
there
we've
after
not done that yet.
Okay.
No,
I
don't
thought we'd
mind.
done that.
I don't mind. I was just going to do a load of impressions and then kick on the podcast.
Bugger off.
I'd be really receptive and respectful of that if you want to do some material, Matt.
No. You're right.
It's Billy Piper. I'm saying it now. I'll say it in 10 minutes. I said it 10 minutes
No.
ago, and I've been saying Billy since the dawn of time.
It's Russell Tovey.
So I don't know.
And next,
I don't know. It's difficult because I want to say I wouldn't mind if it was Billy Piper, but we're talking about that later. I don't believe rumors until they're confirmed, even if somebody tells me they've come straight from Russell T Davies in a drunken moment in a nightclub somewhere.
That's where we
But,
get most of our info.
I think the real question is whether it's going to be a regeneration to black or a regeneration to someone. If it's a regeneration to someone, then all bets are off, because they'll have dragged someone in from as Ian was saying, somebody who Russell T Davies has worked with before, and film against a green screen somewhere. So it could I'm just hoping it's not going to be a regeneration to black.
Well, remember the Jodie
so-
to David Tennant regeneration was filmed as to black originally.
Yeah.
Well, so was the Eccleston one. They were all basically filmed open-ended, and they've all been filled in afterwards.
Yeah, so that's what
Eccleston,
I'm hoping, that is the case, because the rumors have always been before now that this was going to be the end, the regeneration to nothing. But this series seems to be kind of making a bit more hay than the last one, just anecdotally in reviews and amongst us and on social media, and there's little bits of signs of viewer figures ticking up, and there's that article in the Mirror.
The overnight viewing figures for the latest episode, and admittedly it was sandwiched between the FA Cup final and Eurovision Song Contest, but nevertheless, the viewing figures for that, the overnight viewing figures for that, are up by 1 million on the previous episode. And when you're down to 1.5 million, up by 1 million is up by 2/3. Can you imagine at any other time in the show's history if the viewing figures leaped 2/3 of their number just over 1 week?
No. We're trying to have this both ways here, aren't we? Now, which we mustn't, because either we say that the overnight viewing figures matter nothing whatsoever, which we have done quite consistently, but we can't. Having said that, then when they do go up, come back and say, "Hurrah! Viewing figures are up. Everything's wonderful."
What I was saying is
they are irrelevant. They are utterly irrelevant.
I was saying that they are part of a general kind of package that proves. So there are two things. Sorry, this derails things a bit. Is whether Disney's on board and Disney isn't on board. Disney being on board, I'm guessing the viewing figures are part of the decision-making process, but a small part, and the other things feed in. Disney not on board. This Mirror article sort of suggests that if Disney isn't on board, Doctor Who will be naturally cheaper to make anyway, and the BBC won't want to drop it.
I was going to come back to that.
I'm sort of more confident that it's not going to be a regeneration to black. and I don't like that phrase particularly. A regeneration to nothing would be better.
Steve, you wanted to bring up.
They've struggled for years. Yeah, but they've struggled for years, haven't they, in how you can do a regeneration? Because look, there's a regeneration. We know that. We all know that. My information is that although Ncuti Gatwa has been excellent as the Doctor, nobody at Cardiff is going to be very sorry to see him go, because apparently some of his behaviour has not been very helpful. That's what I'm told.
JR,
So there's a regeneration. Well, all right. I'm not
After
going
we
to
were
say
close to the
any more. I'm not
wire
going to say
when
any
we
more
talked
about that.
about somebody else a minute
I'm
ago.
going to say
Steve's
nothing more
taking us
about
right
that.
over the edge.
Going to say nothing more about that. But that's what I'm told. They've struggled for years how you can do a regeneration and not have it spoiled as to who the new Doctor is. So it's a nice big surprise when the Doctor regenerates. When they come up with a
they've not
brilliant
struggled with that for years. What
Well,
they've decided to do is have the publicity drive. They've had plenty of opportunities.
Okay, all right, that's right. But what they've come up with a great way of doing that this year, of keeping it quiet. It seems to me that they've got this so-called spin-off next year. I frankly don't believe that's a spin-off. And all the stuff we've heard about Russell Tovey is playing this, that, and the other. Russell Tovey's the master. Russell Tovey is working as somebody working in league with the Sea Devils. I don't believe a word of it. I think Russell Tovey is the Doctor, and I think he may be the Doctor just for the 1 year, or it may be a longer thing. But I think he is the Doctor in next year's series.
I think the big problem with that, Steve, is that Ncuti Gatwa didn't decide to leave until after War Between the Land and the Sea was in the can.
That may not necessarily be right.
But there's by generation.
Well,
yeah, okay. Not another one.
Presumably, by generation makes it harder to keep it a secret because you have the two actors. A regeneration to somebody, yeah. I mean, they tried to keep the second tenant a secret. That was as close as they came. It was just that we all found out about it.
Everybody knew.
What does everyone think about?
What
does everyone think about the idea of Russell Tovey as the Doctor?
Yeah, that would be nice for a year. For a year, he would be a good stand-in. He would be a good keep it going until.
I can't think of an actor less sort of obvious to cast as the Doctor. He doesn't have that eccentricity. He doesn't have that kind of aloof weirdness. He's just like a bloke from down the pub who you eat chips with.
Even when he played a werewolf, he was like the bloke from down the pub who you ate chips with.
The werewolf down the pub, yeah.
But every actor,
if you come from Essex,
every time I look at an actor, I think they could play the Doctor in a particular way.
Yeah,
because Eccleston didn't have natural eccentricity.
No,
and as it happens, I didn't particularly like his Doctor. But
nor did Colin Baker. Yeah. Nor did Colin Baker really.
That's true.
Nor did Davison.
I think Colin Baker stands out as being significantly different enough from the man in the street to embody this kind of weird alien genius figure. You know, with all his quotations. No, sure.
Yeah. That was the Doctor they created from the actor.
Yeah.
Okay, moving us on to a little bit of context. They have got into the habit of trying to deflect attention away from things by sticking something out that is tangentially true about that thing, but not quite true about that thing. So when they filmed the regeneration, they put out a story that Ncuti Gatwa was back in Cardiff to do a bit of promotional material that actually we haven't subsequently seen. But nevertheless, promotional material was what they claimed he was there for. This week, the BBC, 2 days ago as we speak, announced that there's going to be a special edition of Unleashed that's going to go out to celebrate 20 years of the return of the series. An episode of Unleashed that would have made way much more sense if indeed that wasn't a cover story, if it had gone out 2 months ago in the promotion of the series, when it was actually 20 years since Doctor Who came back.
I'll be disagreeing with this. Sorry.
Oh, really? Because this reeks to me of, let's put out a quick promotional thing to show that Billy Piper's been in Cardiff a couple of weeks ago shooting stuff for this documentary that we're putting out. What excuse can we use for that? Oh yeah, 20 years. And it just reeks to me of the special edition of Confidential that revealed Matt Smith. And the thing that nobody's picked up on, I don't think, because this, I mean, I'm assuming that we all realise this special edition of Unleashed is going out as the series 2, episode 8 finale finishes.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a regular edition of Unleashed at like 8:30 or whatever week on Saturday night. This is going out as that episode finishes, and Billy Piper and David Tennant are all over the promotion for it. It just reeks to me of a smokescreen. And an episode of Unleashed that's to tie in with the regeneration into Billy Piper.
And it means I'll need to use a second recordable DVD to record them all.
Will
Because
you?
it's an extra long one.
I'll have to take over last week's ExtEnders. Oh no.
Yes, I will need to. Yeah, 8 of them would have just fit nicely on a 4-hour DVD.
But it depends how long it is. It might still just be half an hour. There's nothing to say it's extended. There's only to say
that's true. That's true.
All they've said is that it's an episode with a special subject rather than the usual tie-in episode.
It was the Capaldi announcement, wasn't it? That was the one that was disguised as something else.
No, the Matt Smith one was too. Yeah.
Capaldi was big. It was a big Sunday evening show where you announced him going to tell.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, fake out.
It was disguised as something else when they were recording it, but when they broadcast it was. Right. So they gave tickets out, being the BBC in charge. They gave tickets out saying it was for a Doctor Who event, but didn't say what.
That's it. That's what I'm thinking of.
But the Matt Smith one, they said it was confidential to tie in with the end of the series. And I can't remember what exactly the excuse was, but they didn't say it was to announce the new Doctor until, I don't know, 24 hours beforehand, when it kind of leaked out that that's what was going on.
And Confidential had gone by the time Capaldi was there anyway. So.
Yeah.
And we know that Russell T Davies has been watching what Chris Chibnall and Stephen Moffat have done, how they've done it, and is putting his own spin on some of the things they've done. I just reckon this is a shock regeneration into an actor who used to be the Doctor's companion, and there's going to be an Unleashed to tie in with the decision, and they filmed that all in secret last week.
For Lala Warden.
How about the 40th
It's never Romana
as the companion?
So what did John say?
Oh yeah, potentially, John. Potentially. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can totally see that too.
That'd be a great role. That would really be an interesting thing too. Yeah. Matt, it's the 14th Doctor as the companion.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because you're setting that up with the Rani having herself as a companion already.
Because there's another possibility as well, which is a theory that my mate Andrew Mark Thompson has espoused, that what has in fact happened is that the whole of the last 2 series, everything since the specials, in fact, everything since the Giggle, has taken place in the Toymaker's realm, and that they've never escaped from there, and that the whole, because there's all these sort of meta things coming in.
Steve, you've not been listening to Strangers in Space, have you?
I've been saying this for ages. I've been saying this for ages. I've been arguing this on the podcast.
Well, I know you've said it as well. Yes, you have, haven't you? I have listened. I do listen, actually. But Andy's more in my ear than that. But yeah, absolutely. No. And it could be. And then where do we end up? Do we end up with Tennant coming back to do another regeneration into a new Doctor? Or they quietly forget this particular period?
As Doctor Who fans, we look at this and we say it reeks of desperation, because for 26 years we were used to the Doctor regenerating into a new actor every time. If we were fans of any other program, it wouldn't be desperation. It would just be how things are done, because every other program, from soaps that bring actors back whose careers are a bit downturned, who left 5 years ago and couldn't find that Hollywood film and have now come back to reprise their role, to Star Trek bringing back Picard for his own miniseries, to anything else, Star Wars movies with Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill coming out of the ears. Anywhere else, this would be seen as the normal thing to do. As Doctor Who fans, we all turn our noses up at it, and we should probably get over ourselves and stop doing that, frankly.
That's probably a fair comment. And of course we've just had, I mean, what worries me, to be fair, and look, I've loved this series. I really have loved this series. But when
Spoilers for when you
Susan
come to
turned
talk
up,
about it.
oh right, okay. But when Susan turned up, I went, oh no. And then when it was the Rani at the end of it, I went, please no, not the Rani. I mean, because basically, and I loved it. I still loved it being the Rani, and I still loved Susan being in there. But it just felt as if Russell T Davies was seeing all these things that fans have said over the year. Wouldn't it be nice if we got Susan back? Oh, it's the Rani. And he's thought, right, I'll play their game. I'll give them what they want. And
Oh,
It,
yeah,
fe-
yeah.
it, it feels to me like he's sort of taking the piss to a large extent.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, I mean, it probably does. But again, going back to my previous point, he's having fun with it, but he's still doing the thing that everybody wants him to do.
Hmm.
And for
So,
general audience, for fans, it's kind of either exciting or it's taking the piss. But for general audience, it is just an old character from the Doctor's past has returned.
his
It's just,
granddaughter, oh,
yeah,
the Rani, yeah.
it's a shame it's played by Carol Ann Ford, but you can't really record it. And the Rani is just an
Could they have got
opportunity.
Jane Asher in?
The Rani is just an opportunity to get another version of the Master in with an eccentric performance
Well, but
and
see,
something broad.
if he does something appropriate with that character, and my God, we should review East is East now because that was such a great film and she was so good in it.
He was very good in Bandit Like Beckham as well,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. And of
Oh,
course, she was in Life on Mars too. So, but yeah, as
yeah.
long as he finds something appropriate to do with the character, fine. I think the Susan stuff is definitely fine. It's his granddaughter who would be calling him back from the edge, and is
Have you
definitely.
have you
Go on.
seen the clip that was shown on the One Show today? I think it's gone online now as well, which is a clip from Saturday. They had Anita Dobson on the One Show tonight,
Oh, really?
and they showed a clip of the two Ranis working together and developing that sort of vaguely antagonistic, subservient one-way relationship with them. And I thought to
Got better
myself,
to
actually seeing
Trevorton.
that. Well, yeah, it could almost sort of work. It could almost sort of work and be something quite new, where you've got not just one villain, where you've got two of the same villain.
Well, it's not a million miles away from World Enough and Time, is it?
This is true, but that's true. But
Like I
working
said,
more closely together than that.
Russell T Davies has seen that and he said, right, how would I do that? And the only way you can do that, because the master's already been done, is by bringing in another Time Lord, make it the Rani, and then do your spin on it, which is not one good, one bad, but two bad, and one presumably is going to become conflicted as it goes on. Right, I said we'd do this in half an hour. We needed to be on the spot, so we're going to shut it down now. No, we're not. I'm going to go round quickly. Do you want the next Doctor to be Billie Piper? Would you like it? Steve, I'll go to you first.
Terrific actress, no objection. Equally, I'm not. I won't be desperately sad if it's not her.
Fair enough. Iain,
Um, I do query the optics of it always being a blonde white woman who gets to play the Doctor. So I'd rather it was Ambika Mod if we had that choice. But I think Billy could do something really brilliant with the role if she's allowed to play it differently to how she played Rose Tyler. So, yeah, I'd love to see it.
to be fair, Davis has, I mean, admittedly, it's 9 screen seconds, but he has given a little bit of a nod to the fugitive Doctor just to show that the female Doctor doesn't always have to be a white blonde woman.
Sure,
So,
but
but casting in
and
the main role is a different thing from a cameo.
yeah,
and that's
exactly.
another rumor which we haven't mentioned, isn't it? It's been rumored also that he's going to regenerate into Joe Martin. That also has been
I
rumored.
think that was fan wishful thinking more than
Do you
anything
think?
else. The specific rumor was that it was somebody who'd been in Doctor Who and not played the Doctor, which rules Joe Martin out.
Yeah.
So, Matt, Billie Piper, yay or nay?
Yeah, yeah. I think she's a really good actor. She's quite prestigious at the moment. She's completely. I mean, it's different from when she got the role of Rose. she was definitely the pop star Billie Piper who's starting out on her acting career. Now that's completely flipped, and she is, she is the sort of actor of prestige that you'd want associated with your show. The only reason I'd be sort of slightly wobbly about that is I quite like people that I don't know, like Matt
Yeah,
Smith. There's something about casting that where you go, oh, who's he? And then you find out who he is through 5 seasons of Doctor Who, and that's quite exciting. I can't see us staying from the years and years and years, and I think there is value in that
It
sometimes.
might just be a 1 year thing while they
Yeah.
sort out the program's finances
Yeah.
and move on. And if it is, I hope it's a serial as opposed to a bunch of episodes, because shake it up, just shake it up. John, Billy Piper?
Absolutely. I do agree with Matt on I like a kind of almost blank slate by Doctor, but I'm also fine because Capaldi was so good and you had a rough idea of where he might go with it. But I've taught myself round to if you've got Billy Piper's the Doctor and David Tennant, you're playing with the dynamic that there was previously. I really like that idea now, so I'm sold on it.
And also, it's nice having a blank slate as the Doctor, but that's what we usually get. You don't have to have it every time.
No,
So
absolutely.
you can occasionally do something different. I'd like to see it just because I like to see them do something different. So I got really excited when we found out it was David Tennant, until I found out it was Catherine Tate as well, and they were just going to reprise series 4. But I was excited to see them do something different. And if that's what they are properly going to do this time, yeah, I'm all for it. And yes, Billie Piper, she's great. After watching her as the Moment, you can imagine her not playing that as the Doctor, but you can see where she might take a Doctor and make it a really interesting character. And I'd certainly be up for that, especially as she'd probably be just a little bit less in your face than David Tennant or Ncuti Gatwa have been. And I do like a Doctor who's not that in your face. Right, I just want to do a little coda thing, which is the mirror story, because I brought it up. I meant to do it on Saturday when we recorded, and I completely forgot about it. And it was because you'll have seen it on my social media, I guess. The interesting thing about the story was not what the story said, because it was all stuff that's in the public domain about, the Disney deal and when new Doctor Who could possibly be on our screens and whether the series 3 scripts and the series 4 storylines are ready to go or whatever. We'd already heard all of that. It's all in the public domain. But this was the interesting bit. I'll read it out because most of the people who commented on this commented on the last sentence and seemed to ignore the actual relevance of the rest of it. An insider apparently said, when Doctor Who began its partnership with Disney Plus, there was additional funding put in place. Doctor Who is an expensive show to make, with its effects budget taking up a significant part of the overall spend. So if Disney were to withdraw its funding, then there wouldn't be as significant an impact on production as some fans may think, because, as had just been revealed in the article, a lot of the budget that Disney were putting in was to bring the effects, the grading, the filming up to 4K because Disney stream in 4K. But the BBC, apart from odd things like Doctor Who is one of the very few things that actually does go out in 4K because they've made it in 4K for Disney, the BBC usually broadcasts and streams in 2K. And so the whole point is, if you take away the Disney money, that means that they'll just go back to making it in 2K and they won't actually lose very much production budget at all. And then the insider finished with, the TARDIS set is still standing in Cardiff, all ready to go on New Adventures. And pretty much everybody who commented on this all went, oh, they don't need to spend the money on the TARDIS anymore, so they can save money that way. Which was not the point of what he was saying at all. The point of what he was saying, the relevance of what he was saying is, we're all here waiting to find out if Disney are going to reinvest, and the production office in Cardiff is waiting to find out whether Disney will reinvest before they press go on Series 3. The way TV works is, if you know there's going to be investment, whether it's from Disney or another streamer or just BBC Studios putting the money in lieu of making that money back off selling the programme abroad, then you can press go. But the reason they didn't press go was because if Disney aren't going to be putting money in, they're going to save money by doing it in 2K, but they need to wait until they know whether Disney are in, because if Disney are in, they'll need it in 4K, so the BBC can't roll cameras until they know one way or the other what Disney are doing. And so for me, that entire Mirror article, that was the one nugget of actual information there was to take
Yes.
from it, frankly.
And the fact that there is a nugget of actual information
Yeah,
kind of makes me feel better about the whole article. So when
Yes,
normally when
yes, yes,
newspapers
yes.
say we've got an insider,
Yeah.
it turns
Yeah,
out
yeah.
to be Russell T Davies giving an interview 4 years ago that they
Yeah.
kind of AI'd or something. But that new bit of information felt new and made logical sense.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, they
I'll
did.
tell you what I've noticed as well, that over the last few weeks, there's more and more, even from official BBC sources, of using Series 14 and Series 15 rather than the frankly ridiculous series Season 1 and Season 2. And
Right.
I think they're starting to think of reintegrating those into the run rather than have them as something distinct and special.
The one thing that worries me is if Disney have paid to have these two series, that then subsequent to this, if Doctor Who gets sold abroad again or goes to another streamer or whatever, those overseas sales will be of series 1 to 13 and then 16 onwards, and 14 and 15 will forever be isolated on Disney, or indeed maybe dropped from Disney and disappear from the rest of the world altogether. So
Maybe you're just going to wake up and it was all a
Dylan
dream.
Reese, his finger hovering over a button, just
I,
waiting to press
I
it.
don't think the BBC would have allowed that to happen. I mean, they got their fingers were burned with the TV movie in terms of that, weren't they?
well, we
When
are
they ended up with
currently
about
watching the
rights.
BBC getting their fingers well and truly burned about when they can press go on the next series of Doctor Who, Steve.
Well,
So
maybe.
in fairness,
Maybe.
the BBC got their fingers burnt with An Unearthly Child, which is
Yes.
Well, and the Seeds of Doom,
yeah.
cried out loud. The Seeds of Doom's disappeared from iPlayer and Terror of the Zygons too, haven't they?
Well, that could happen with all sorts of stories from the back catalogue. They have to be
Yeah,
very
yeah.
careful about that.
But
There we
anyway,
are.
yeah, so, I mean, that is, well, one way or the other. But anyway, there we go. We did our half an hour and a little bit extra. Ian, it was lovely to see you.
It was. Can I just very quickly be the first one to do my two Ranis impression?
Oh,
So, I'm going to tell you a joke. Thank you.
Oh God, that's sort of reframing Ronnie Corbett as some kind of, I don't know,
Slivine.
imprisoned sex criminal. I was thinking more
Which is ironic because of all the 70s comedians, he ultimately wasn't. Yeah.
I heard from somebody who had worked with him that he was a terrible misogynist. There we go.
I can
Corbett
believe
or
that.
Barker?
Corbett.
Because Barker wasn't popular with people he worked with, I was told the other week.
No, and I always,
And
I
was
always thought
renowned for
Corbett-
stealing their work.
okay. But
Corbett was always
Corbett-
very short with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh,
That's funny, but it's true, according to my inside sources.
Is this the bit where I put
Excellent.
in the disclaimer about the fact that
Oh, he's
these
dead.
opinions
I
aren't
haven't-
necessarily
I haven't-
my own?
I'll tell you all that gossip I heard after we stopped recording.
Oh, will you? I need to get this out and get to bed.
I heard. Well, it'll only take a minute, but I heard some interesting stuff.
Sorry,
That's not for broadcast.
Sorry, viewers.
Turn it off.
Not
Are we-
for broadcast.
Okay. Are we going to get the Four Sonics sketch next week then on Doctor Who?
Very probably.
Until that happens, I was JR.
I was Ian.
I was John.
I was Matt.
And I was Steve.
And we will speak again soon.